Okay, everybody's seen this, I've no doubt. It's radiation found across Europe. This is what it looked like. The backdrop is particles in the atmosphere at the same time, and the rings are as they've turned up. That big ring is across Poland. It's quite a big hit, that 5.9 to 2. That one across northern Spain there was the 1.28 or whatever it was. Green, the more yellow and white it is, the more dust there is. And as you can see, there is green. There are dust particles across Europe during this time. And they're up in just off, I can't remember where it was now, but that's the last one, and that'll be there now through to the 7th. 6, there we go. Well, they reckon that it's come from these, which are the reactors to make medical isotopes. Well, that's all very well, but that means there was a leak there for that huge spike, and one there for that huge spike, especially with the time differences. Well, there aren't any there. In order to really work out what's going on here, you've got to go back to see then the 19th of December 2016, which is about a month prior. And as you can see, that weather pattern forming over northern Africa, swirling over the Mediterranean and thrusting that green swathe of dust particles up across France. Oh, roughly where those? Oh yeah, straight across where those little blobs for detected radiation, up into across the sea there, up into the north towards the North Sea, and heading up towards Norway. And as you watch in a minute, it does a lovely little loop round to satisfy our detectors up in Norway there. I'll sing to keep it. No, I won't. It's bad enough I have to blooming talk to you. I've got no teeth, that's half the trouble, you see. So it makes it an interesting chat. Now look at that, quite a swathe up there through. Oh, very interesting, you may say. But what's that got to do with radiation? Because this is dust particles, and you're right, it is dust particles, which could bear the radiation. Well, where's it come from, you might say? Was there a bomb? Well, possibly, but I don't think so. Was it one of those nuclear submarines all up there up in the north there? Was it those nuclear lighthouses? Was it all those things that have been kicking around all these years suddenly kick up and create two very unusual hotspots, one down in Spain, one up in Poland? There you go, look at that little hook. And see the green spreading across Europe there as the weather system's coming down from the northwest have pushed it back, and it sent it back across Europe. And that's, remember, dust. These are dust particles in the air. There's a link on at the bottom where you can go and look at this stuff for yourself. It's a smashing little tool, little app or whatever you call them. So where are we? We're on the 22nd of the 12th. And I'm on a slow one, so you can see how that spreads across. All that dust spreads across. I haven't got an awful lot of anything interesting to say most of the time, but particularly not until this gets up to the end of the month. But I'm running through it anyway, because I'm sure people are going to look at this and see they've ripped to bits, or I'm hoping somebody with some brains is going to come along, stick it on a spreadsheet and get all the numbers right and say, right, this is what's really happening or not. Christmas period, you'll see down in the bottom left corner here underneath the menu in the menu item, unfortunately there's quite a bit of a glow glowing under there. You'll see it in a minute. I'll take that off so you can see it. But that's a lot of dust coming off of Africa. There's most of it stripped off now and blowing out over the sea. This used to happen many years ago. We saw it where you'd have dust off the Sahara get took up into the atmosphere, and we'd end up with dust falling in the UK. From what I remember, it was normally in the summer, but anyway, there's a big old dollop of it underneath the menu, as you can see. It's worth keeping an eye on that. Now here we go. That weather system's dragged it up. It's going to send a load of it off to the west towards Florida, and it's going to send a load up towards, as you can see, across to the northwest of Scotland and Northern Ireland. That's quite a heavily laden, a lot of dust in there. Let's see the white and the yellow on top of the green. Green is the dust as well. You have to get down to the blues and purples before you're in the clean air. But as you can see, that's a lot of dust coming across Northern Ireland and Scotland, and sweeping down now through right across Scotland, right across Scotland and Northern Ireland, heading down towards the Midlands. The whole northern part of the UK and all of Ireland now is getting awash with the green, yellow and white, which is the yellow and white being heavy dust, the green not so heavy. I'm sure somebody will give you the cubic capacities per milliliter of dewdrop blooming whatever, but I haven't got it. All I know is that looks like a lot of blooming muck in the air coming down over northern England, an awful lot of it, and then stretching out towards Denmark, Holland and all the rest of it. And then a little bit still, yeah, I'm reminding myself there, still some down towards northern Spain. Still there, hovering off to the left there. We're coming up to the end of the year, 31st of December. A lot of dust across the north, and particularly Scotland, Northern Ireland, but the whole of the UK has had a right old. So we have been absolutely soused in it. Holland and Denmark and Norway. It's come off of Norway now, but all of those. There we go. Another slap across the face for Scotland there. More white stuff. It's not snow this time, guys. I'm afraid it's dust, and you ain't gonna like what I've got to tell you about it in a minute. But there you go. Lots of green, lots of white, lots of yellow. Now watch that limb to the right as it starts to, this is why I'm about to leave this going, so you can see this whole thing developing. See that sweeping down there? There'll be a little elbow of it collecting of quite dark yellow with a fringe of green coming towards eastern Poland, which is exactly where our large deposit of radiation was. The green arm now starting to sweep, that white arm being pushed down across the UK by the weather systems coming from the north and west, pushing all that dust back down south again, right across the UK, getting absolutely covered in this stuff. Absolutely covered in it. And there's a lovely little elbow of orange dark dust over eastern Poland. All we need now is a little slap on northern Spain, and I reckon that's quite a smoking gun, except it's dust, not radiation. Well, unfortunately, I think I'm going to be able to show that it quite likely could be radiation, and I'll show you where it's from in a minute. And I'm afraid, UK residents, you ain't going to like it, because if it is radiation, we got a dose. Now if anyone can think back to between Christmas and New Year, oh here we go, here comes Spain getting a little dose. See it all creeping up from underneath that menu. Yellow and green across northern Spain. Well, all across Spain, the western side of Spain, but in particular where we have our other high spike, which is in northern Spain. Underneath where that arrow is, you can see the yellow coming up towards it, being pushed up by this weather pattern. Same dust off of Africa there, and there, northern Spain getting a douse. 3rd of January, getting a bit of a dose of it there. Still a lot of it down through the Mediterranean. Dark clouds. Dispersing over Europe. But all coming down, there's still green coming down across, as you can see, particularly over Poland, northwest France, southern Spain, and sweeping off away. Where are we? 4th of January. Still working its way across. I've left it going because we're working our way up to the 9th, which is when they started measuring in Norway and flagging up this radiation. Still quite a swathe of it across the bottom of Spain there, and the last remnants of those green clouds gradually moving off and away. And the clean air coming through, 5th of January. As you can see, not so many dust particles in the air with that purple coming through and the blue coming through. Still some light green across France and Spain, but nowhere near as much before. Probably as clean as it's going to get. 8th of January, 9th of January. Now, Norway say, oh looky, we've got some radiation. Wonder where it's come from. Well, I don't believe it could have come from those medical places, unless of course there's been multiple outages from dodgy goods and they've all happened to go off at the same time, and there was a spike in northern Spain and a spike in... I don't believe it. I've noticed that this dust can migrate all the way from Japan there, and I'll show you that very briefly in a minute. It takes a little while to come across, which leads us to our next problem. Iodine 131 has a half-life of 8 days. Well, it doesn't get here in 8 days, and that I can assure you. I've done a rough estimate on how long it takes, and for dust to have left Fukushima and come this route, as you can see, and if you watch you can see it starting to feather its way across there, those yellow patches feathering out and meeting up again. They'll meet up again there over the Middle East, over where is that down there, the Persian Gulf and that, or a bit north further, no, it's over Iraq and Saudi and all that lot in it. They're getting a lot of dust over there, quite a hot spot of it in fact, and it is dragging. Look, there's a little pool of it there. See how it's swirling around and then meeting up with this weather pattern. It gradually leaches its way across and finds itself above Africa. Now, I've been watching this and I've worked it out very, very roughly. We need a scholar on this with a nice computer and lots of forecasting stuff and all that stuff that I ain't got. I've done this with blooming paint and that's it pretty much. There we go, and there is our deposit over Africa. I worked out that it would have to leave Japan about second week of November last year, which means to land between the 9th and 16th, given a reading of 5.92, allowing for the half-life, it would have been leaving Japan with a reading of between 1600 and 3200. It is very rough, very shot in the dark. I was just trying to get in the right ballpark. Well, that's very interesting because they're measuring 2500 at Fukushima. I hope it's not true, but I reckon that's where it's from. Have a nice day.